Hi, my name is Chris Foster. I am a student at Liberty University, and I am going to be sharing my interpersonal communications project. I'm going to be discussing my overarching goals, which are goals that influence every part of communication. I'm going to be talking about how to enlarge my personal conversation through 7 core goals in communication that were shared in Burley Allen's book of materials with our class. I'm also going to be talking about my background and my behavioral blend, how that affects me personally and publicly, as well as some of my personal barriers that I want to work on overcoming. And I would also like to talk about noise pollution internally and externally, how it can affect us in our communication. And lastly, I want to talk about my personal plan of action to achieve my communication goals. In slide 2, in my overarching goals, I specifically want to start with having self-awareness for what my personal communication style is and my socialization process, how that has affected my upbringing and how I communicate or what I'm willing to discuss or not discuss. Some of my personal bias for listening is making sure that especially if it's a person that I'm not relating to or a subject that doesn't really interest me, that I'm still overcoming that and being willing to really pay attention and be in the moment with them and really listen to what they have to say or listen to their ideas. As far as my internal listening processes, I want to make sure that I'm not being sidetracked and that I'm being open-minded and not having a lack of interest or disengaging from the person as they're talking. In the third, uh, in the third video, I really want to focus on making sure I have something to say, that I can find something in common with the person that I'm trying to connect with. And also that I take initiative is another one of my goals, as far as moving past maybe a different communication style that they have, voice inflection, things like that that might be off-putting to me, that I can overcome that and take initiative to just really dig in and focus on what they're trying to share with me. I really want to work on listening as far as researching topics if I have an ongoing conversation with someone, or it's applicable to a future conversation, to research a subject that they're wanting to share with me so that I can further the conversation. And within focusing on that idea, I want to be able to evolve that idea through even things like word pictures or things that might help to clarify what we're wanting to really understand of one another. I also have always been a note taker, but I want to start being a mental note taker as well, and really outline what I'm hearing and highlight in my mind things I want to come back to, or things that really interest me, or things that I think that we might have in common that will help us to connect as we speak with each other. In slide 4, in my listening communication skills, I really want to focus on resisting distractions and making sure that I concentrate on concentrating and not let other things come in the way of me really hearing what they have to say and encoding and decoding that message, as they say. I want to make sure that I hold my arguments and keep my emotions in check. If I'm communicating with someone who has different ideas than me, or I don't agree, or it's an emotional subject, I need to have an open mind and just make sure that I'm willing to let them fully express what they want to share. And also summarizing it in my head as they're speaking, because we can think faster than people can talk. It's important to stick with the subject and kind of summarize what they're saying and really focus on that without meandering off somewhere else, but just really trying to understand what they're saying and how they're saying it. And also evaluating the content and using critical thinking, which I think helps people to have an open mind. In slide 5, I'm going to be talking about my behavioral blend and background. In my background, my mother is very dark-skinned and I'm fair-skinned. And in communication, I think that's helped me to focus on internal and not have external looks, skin tones, nationalities affect what I think of people, or have instant judgments about them. I think it's shown me diversity, and also my background of being the oldest of 4 girls has helped me to learn flexibility and also leadership and responsibility, which has helped in my communication. My behavioral blend for my this is expected of me, my public life, I found that I'm more just an active people-oriented, passive-oriented person, where in my this is me private person life, those two are there, but also adding D, which is task-oriented, and I want to really focus on bringing those two closer together. In slide 6, and my behavioral blend continues with the idea that in what's expected of me, I always feel like I need to improve the enthusiasm in the room, to be charismatic on stage, to be a peacemaker and a motivator. And as a hairdresser for 25 years, I can see where that has really helped that to grow in my personality, is that it's important for me to understand that I don't need to always be on stage or be the motivator in the group, that I can step back and let others just do their thing and not try to push people a certain direction because I think they need motivated. So that I'm going to be working on that. And in my private personality, the driving part of me, in the This Is Me assessment area, I really want to bring more of that out into my public life, especially my work and starting a new career. I want to focus on being more driving and allowing that to come out as I start a new career. So that part of me I'm happy to know about and want to keep working on and implementing that to my public life. In 7, my personal barriers are mainly because I am a speaker and I love to talk, and I'm very enthusiastic and a bit dramatic at times. I need to make sure I'm giving and receiving and allowing someone to take time to really share what they want to share. I want to make sure that I'm thinking before I'm speaking, and just taking time to assess what they're saying and slowing down a little bit, and more quality and not so much quantity in my speaking and communicating. And my biggest barrier in communication, especially with work, is limited computer skills, which I think is a really important form of communication that I want to work on and is a big barrier for me. So my goal is to become much better at that. And slide 8 about noise pollution, it's important to understand that noise pollution is internal and external. It affects us physically, emotionally, mentally. It can affect our moods, our concentration, and within our internal factors, how we perceive people can be a noise factor, and that perception, which could be biased or judgmental, can really affect how much we're willing to receive, or our reception of the person's message or idea. And that also will include how much attention we're willing to pay to that person's idea or opinion about something. So it's really important to understand that noise pollution is something that we need to really pay attention to and not let it overtake our communication. In slide 9, my personal plan of action mainly includes inhaling and exhaling, which in our materials was very valuable to me. Making sure that I'm first taking things in and really breathing in and allowing me to hear what they're saying, and being open-minded. And then with exhaling, making sure that I'm conscientious and thoughtful of what I say, how I say it, being sensitive to the other person, and overall just really wanting to make sure that I am giving and taking on a good balance. And in conclusion, on slide 10, I really want to continue working on my overarching goals, factoring in my past background and barriers, how noise pollution can affect me, and my plan of action is really to continue to grow and practice effective communication skills. Thank you so much for your time.